Hello. So we have here is SECCHI, as you can see, stereo A, H12. And the more I keep looking at this, the more, well, quite fascinating. And so I'm going to put out my thoughts on what I think we're actually seeing here. So let me just play this to you in real time. And this is the entire month of September. To look at that, you would not think that there is anything really going on. But that's not the case. So what I'm going to do here, I've slowed this down to less than 10%. And what we're going to do, we're going to go over here. We're going to get the flickering, the motion blur. We're going to get that. We're going to get the motion detector. And then we're going to go over here. Let's adjust the image. There we go. Let's just see what we get from this. This might be interesting to watch. So we really can see clear of the mothership here, whatever is driving this. Venus, Neptune, all the planets. Now we should not be able to see the sun here. Now look at this. I want you to pay attention. Did you just see that? I believe that was the first salvo that was hit. Now notice our shield here. It begins to react when that first salvo went off. Pay attention to what's going on over here. There's something I think happening here as well. Now this is the baffle, but watch. And I'm going to show you this in a different light that really begins to where you're really kind of scratching your head going, well, what exactly is going on? And watch the shield over here. It will almost tell you when something is being fired off. Watch. Did you see it? Look at that. It completely, before we see anything actually launching off of here, you can see it completely affected the whole thing that this telescope is actually looking at. Well, let's continue. You see the ship? It's reacting before something is even going off here. Now, I'll let it continue to play out here. And again, this is extremely, look at that. Look at that, folks. Now, I'm going to show you in a different color of light how this is actually layered. And again, it is a V shape. And you can see how the rest of the stars, whatever you want to call them, look at this. It's just quite remarkable. And that was only the first salvo. Here comes the second one. Look at that. Do you see how it's actually, now watch. The shield is starting to react. And again, this is extremely slow speed. All right, now you see it again. Look at this. You're going to see these are actually waves. It's happening up here, and it seems to go in advance of what eventually becomes a very large blast. Look at this. Completely, look at this, folks. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of them at a triangle. Look at that. Okay, and it's not done. It's got one more salvo it's going to send out. It's really quite remarkable when you see the pulsing that takes place. Okay, so tell you what, let's take the saturation, contrast up. And let's see what happens here. Okay, so let's check this out. We've just reversed the light. Look at that, folks. I mean, come on. What are you going to say? It's a malfunction of the camera? I don't think so. And you can see how that pulses, right? Okay, so here I've taken the spatial blur into that. Now I want you to see this. Look at this. And we're going to see this in another filter. This thing is actually, you can see it, it's waves. And there's one up here, you'll see this. But I just want you to see how this really begins to impact the entire region of what this camera is actually looking at. Look at that. Do you see what I'm talking about? It comes out in waves, and you can see again the shield reacting, this baffle area is reacting, something behind it seems to be reacting. There seems to be a definite direction, and you will see here that it just absolutely overwhelms in this particular filter just how much it really does impact. And I'll just let it play out, because to me I find this rather fascinating. I really do. You know, we can put this at normal speed, but so it looks to me like we're getting about every 2 to 4 hours. You can see, look at that. So look at this. It completely reacts. There's no CMEs on these dates, but wait till you see this as it continues to build. Now I'm gathering this is supposedly the Milky Way. No comment on that one. Again, just there it is. Look at that. And you can see how it's reacting. Now in the normal light, you can't see this. You've seen it. I've played this in normal speed. It's barely a flash. But when you slow this down, it's not just a flash. It is some serious reacting to this. And again, I know this is a longer video, but I'm telling you folks, something's going on. Now look at here. Look at, you see this? It actually comes out in waves. This thing here reacts before there's any type of energy release. lens flare. Yep. Has to be the longest one in history. Okay, so now let's pay attention. We know that this camera is seeing ionized particles. So watch, here it is. Do you see how that actually just kind of comes out? And now we start getting into, there it is. Look at that, folks. Just look at that. Everything is reacting. And I'll see if I can actually stop this because there's another couple of salvos coming. So there you go. Again, I've never seen a CME that was so well defined. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it certainly seems like it's lined up very conveniently here. But let's continue to go on. That one went very quick, but there's one here now. It's going to go for an extended period. Look at that. It completely engulfs our little friend here. Now here, I've basically now taken this down to where we can actually see each frame as it's coming in. And I'll just let you, this tells a story in itself. Be curious to see what October is going to show. Look at that. A lot going on here. Now you see the waves? It's up here as well. Very defined too. I always like to think this is the tether line. All right. Because you see the reason why, okay, I'm going to, all right. So here we see this. It's impacting all the way through this frame. Now follow me on this one. Every CME that we can go, you can go to SDO, you see all the rest from SECCHI Stereo. CME releases and it expands out. I've never seen it come into a defined 90-degree angle. Look at that. That just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sure NASA would have a very reasonable explanation. All right, so here we go again. So you saw this when it began. It was in the negative light. There's just so much that doesn't make sense about this, other than the fact that what we're seeing is potentially technology being used for whatever purpose. If this is weapons, well, it's certainly beyond anything I've seen on Earth, but let's just continue going. I think we have one more salvo that's about to be unleashed here. And you know, what are the odds that we see three? Okay, let's stop this again. So what are the odds that if this is a coronal mass ejection, that ejecta is being thrown out, what are the odds that you would see this in successive days of it having the same pattern? Really? Really? Okay, I'm not buying it. And I don't think you are either. So here it is where, look at that. Yeah. And of course, you know, they try to tell us that this was a lens flare. Are you telling me that this is a natural occurrence? Not once, not twice, 3 times? I'm not buying it. Look at this. And you can see how it's just absolutely impacting all these charged particles here. Just look at this. And let's continue to let it play out. And then, again, so what you're seeing here are charged particles. Look at this. You know, I'm becoming more suspicious of this little guy. You know, I smell a rat. As the late Marlon Brando said in the movie The Freshman. So let's take a look at this again, guys. So this is only going to show us highly charged particles. And if the professor is watching this, look at that. Come on, folks. I stopped it here, but just look at that. Look at the particles just dancing in here. These are highly charged, folks. And again, it's just this blast. We have one more, and then I'll close it out and let y'all make your own decision. Look at this. I'm just not buying it. I think there's something going on out here. I think we'll see the one last salvo. There it is. Look at that. Just incredible, folks. I think that's all you can say. I'm going to see if I can actually slow that down so we can just take one good look at what's really going on here. So I've been able to slow this down and capture this right here. I mean, you can just look at yourself. It's just quite amazing. So I just wanted to show you, I took a still, and as you can see, these are waves very clearly. And look how our friend here is reacting. And I found it odd that the oculator here, or whatever we want to call it, the baffle, whatever it is, how it's reacting. Again, a still, blown up. If that's a CME, I tell you what, I am not buying it. In here, you can clearly see what I think are waves. Look how it cuts off right here when it hits the shield. Another wave here. There's another wave here, another one here, another one here, and another one there. In this picture, it clearly shows the intensity of these waves. The darker, the more intense. So you can see this wave has already hit completely across this telescope camera's field of vision. Then we get a wave dissipating. Here's one, but look at this, very clearly defined. And and it amazes me in how it can, how it pushes through, but you can actually see how it just continues to disturb the space. I like this one particularly because it shows whatever this is originating from, it's coming from right here. I mean, look at this. And when you really get this close up, look at our ship. Clearly in line to take whatever this is being aimed at it. So to conclude this video, here's the deal, folks. As you can see, this is H1. This is now looking at the sun. Our camera view was over here. This is a CME, coronal mass ejection. Does anyone see a 90-degree angle in that? Does anyone see anything resembling that? No, not a thing, nada, nothing. I mean, so I'll conclude with this. You draw your own conclusions. Be kind to one another. Thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. I do these mostly for my own entertainment and quite frankly because I'm searching. One of my favorite artists, Van Morrison, has a song called The Philosopher's Stone. And as I've gotten older, I have gotten a deeper appreciation. So thank you. Be kind, and we'll talk real soon. Bye-bye.